Hello everyone, my name is Sophie-Allen and welcome to the first ever recording of Ecospacegy talk show. We aim to showcase young professionals throughout Guyana in the environmental realm. And today I have the beautiful Maria Fraser. Welcome.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm Maria Fraser, Marine Biologist here in Guyana.
Yes, so today we would like to focus on Maria's contributions to the environmental realm, especially marine biology. And we like to focus on Earth Day with the team Invest in Our Planet. That is celebrated on April 22nd every year. So my first question to you is, what inspired you to become a marine biologist and what drew you to working in ocean conservation?
Well, thank you for that interesting question. A lot of people have been asking me that. Was my passion? Why is it I choose marine biology? But I would say marine biology chose me. As funny as it sounds. So initially my passion, growing up from small, I wanted to be a medical doctor. The usual thing, law or doctor, right?
Yes, me too.
But I started UG in Berbice campus and I did the biology and I found that I gravitate towards the environment. I like the outdoor. I love the animals. It's always fun. Everybody used to call me Dora or Bindi the Explorer. Yeah, because I'm always out there going somewhere, even playing with caimans. I have pet caimans, by the way.
Wow.
Yes. So this second year UG, then you would apply for medicine. Well, that didn't happen. It was all fill and I didn't get through. So I decided to continue during the degree. It's like, why not finish your hamburger? Why eat half of it and not complete it? So I went in and I had a good chat with my professor, Dr. Gomes, at that time. And he was like saying, instead of doing medicine, you could do your master's. No idea what the master's was. I was completely blank, like zero. And I started to think about it and I was like, well, there's a lot of conservationists, there's a lot of environmentalists. I want to do something that's unique, something that's different, something that I can contribute to Guyana. So there was me after graduation in 2016. What am I going to do with my life now?
You're sitting on a party, don't know where it's heading.
Yep. So I applied to 24 different universities around the world and I was looking for a scholarship, and specifically because I realized that I'm old now and I don't want to use my mother's or parents' money for financing education. Right. So I applied and I got rejected from 24. And then there was one to study veterinary science. Of course, all excited about animals again. But then I had to finance that. And then one day I decided to read a newspaper. And there was marine biology. And there was a government scholarship. Should I not? What am I going to do? Anyways, so I applied for it. I wasn't thinking that I would have got through with it. There was a Thailand and China, marine biology or biosciences. And I was like, marine biology. Do we have any marine biologists here in Guyana? Did my research. I didn't find anything. It's like, all right, it's a risk. Let's see where it goes. And that's how it happened. I found an interest for the ocean. I used to cross over the Berbice River Bridge and I used to see the dolphins there all the time. And curiosity is always there for me. I like thinking beyond. It's like, what is there beneath those lovely brown waters Guyana have? What's happening out there, right? So I made it a priority now to study marine biology with the interest of coming back to Guyana and see how much I can contribute towards the marine aspect of it. Had no idea that Guyana would have been in the oil and gas industry presently today, but I just wanted to work in marine science, in the ocean, coastal, whatever it is.
You see, that's so inspirational, and that's why I wanted to have this talk show, because I realized a lot of persons have such stories that can really inspire young persons, because we often hear about the traditional working fields, lawyer, doctor, accountant. But as you see that even though you had a setback, there were set-ups actually for your current success.
Yeah, and I was absolutely frustrated. Imagine you apply to 24 universities and you get turned down like that. And it's like, what am I doing? I was literally at the point like crying. It's like, I don't know, what am I going to find a work now in Guyana? What am I going to be doing? And yeah.
And look at you now. Those days are gone. So, my next question, can you describe some of the pressing challenges currently as you've finished the degree, you're working and so on, that are facing our oceans today? And what can we do to address them, as we know with the current situation with climate change and so on?
Well, that's another good question too. today, presently, the ocean or marine life in general is affected not only by climate change, but I would say climate change is an added factor to everything as well. But humans, we, the individuals, are the ones that are contributing to this change today that is happening. One of the major issues, apart from sea level rising, we already know Guyana is below sea level. There's ocean acidification, which basically means increase in temperature means the increase in pH. And that's where our coral reefs are being destroyed. Guyana has coral reefs, but of course, no research was done there. And that's a potential area that we can do. But again, funding is an issue. We have plastic pollution, another big issue. I've had the privilege of working on microplastics, simply meaning the very small breakdown of plastic bottles, plastic bags, whatever plastic it is. And there is a plastic island in the world today that is traveling and being tracked. It is estimated that over 250 million metric tons of plastic is present in the ocean. It's probably gone up 10 times now.
More plastic than the fishes.
Right. And half of it is not being accounted for. And that's where it breaks down to microplastics. So these microplastics are so small, as tiny as your blood cell, and can be present in your food. When I say food, I mean fishes, marine life on the whole, and we humans, at least 90% of our protein comes from fishes. And what we put out there that's what we're gonna get back.
You reap what you sow. Yes, I also did some work with microplastics on my final year project. I analyzed mangrove soil for microplastic, and I did find a good amount of fibers, and that's from the fishing equipment.
Correct, from fishing net.
Exactly.
And I guess it's blue fibers specifically,
exactly.
which is from PET. So I don't know if you guys got to identify the type of polymers. I don't know if UG Lab is capable.
No, we're not. It wasn't.
Correct.
I just got to identify the type.
Yeah, it's a very nice experiment, actually. It's like you're dissecting this little plastic and putting it onto UFTIR. Yeah, and then, there's this library that runs it to say, well, this is PET, PS, or PE type.
Yeah, in my research, I came upon that, but that microscope is extremely expensive. I tried my best in that regard. So, how can we go into climate change a little? And what can we do to mitigate these effects? Because we understand that with plastic, we reduce our consumption. We reduce, we reuse, we recycle. The three I's.
Correct.
But climate change seems to be a phenomenon we still can't get a grip of it, especially in countries where we know that we're not really responsible for the overall global warming and so on. What can you say are the major mitigation steps we can take?
Well, that's a tough question. I think baby steps work for now, because if you're going to try to combat climate change, it means that we have to go into greener energy. And presently there's industries that are existing. Think big in the world.
Definitely.
If we're going to shut down industries, it means we're going to kill employment. We're not going to get materials and so forth. So we need to start thinking about sustainable practice, eco-friendly practice. If there's a compressor that releases harmful toxin, a lot of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, why not come up or invent an equipment that capture the amount of harmful chemicals being released into the environment to suppress that amount of carbon dioxide being, sent into the atmosphere? We can also try to reduce, of course, burning, reduce the use of consumption of cosmetic products, because that contains a lot of, additives in there that contributes to climate change as well. And there are some other things that we can touch on. It's a vast stuff.
It's available online. You can always share links. And you see, we know these things, and we know how to reduce our carbon footprint. We know how to deal with climate change mitigation and adaptation because of research, because the science is there, the facts is there. And can you speak about any major researches you have been a part of, or you have really noted that have really guided you to understand in your field, in environmental realm and so on, that you can now impart to the public and say, well, this is something that really opened my eyes?
In terms of environmental aspect of it, or marine?
Yeah.
So I can simply talk about the first time when I went to Philippines, and I was doing my diving course there, and you just jumping off with this boat heading down under to a whole entire world, and the Pacific Ocean is considered to be one of the dangerous oceans in the world, right? And when I got there, I was afraid, very much afraid. I was thinking about snakes, caiman, sharks coming and eat me and so on. But then I realized that the way that you interact with the organism, and it's a pleasant response, they react the same. So I was diving with a shark whale, which is huge as hell. A shark whale. It's a shark whale. Yeah, it's very friendly. And imagine this massive creature, probably about 30 meters long plus. And it comes at the side of you and it just looks you in the eye and say, well, we need help. It's just that taken away from it. And part of that island had a lot of plastics as well. And they were literally eating the plastic because these are whales that opening up, swallowing everything. But that's just one aspect of it. The second part of our research that I did was deep sea fishes, where microplastics was present. And I remember the first time working with microplastics, I said, microplastics? This sounds so boring. And when I got into it, I was out there, close by to the Mariana Trench, and we collected deep sea fish. And I was amazed by the different organisms that we caught out there, things that I've never seen before. So that's also made my curiosity expanded some more. And then we took deep sea fish that range about 30,000 to 500 meters depth, and they had plastic. The amount of plastic that was present in there, and we eat that fish as well too. It's an eye opener. Again, what we put out there, that's what we get. And it's not just microplastic; it was all heavy metal, toxic compounds that were present there too. So,
you see. And that really shows you that deep sea. So when and I want for us, especially as Guyanese, to understand this. When you dispose of something irresponsibly, it doesn't end there. No. It travels. It goes from the drain to the ocean to the deep. I remember I saw a video from, I think it's Natural Geographic, where they went to the depths of the Mariana Trench, one of the deepest trenches in the earth. And they found plastic. Yeah. And I'm like, we have to realize that everything has a consequence. And you're not just going to pollute waterways and it's not going to reach back to you.
So funny that you mentioned that. So in my research, what I did, we looked at routes in which these plastics, heavy metals, and other compounds, which are PCB, we term it as persistent organic pollutant. And we found that people living in communities, let's take for Guyana, for example. Let's say we have, all right, I'm going to use Georgetown. We're in the Demerara River there, and we're throwing our garbage into the river. The drains eventually flows out to the mouth. Now that plastic doesn't stop right there. It flows all the way, traveling through Panama, the coast of America, coming back to Europe, following that ocean current. Remember, we have the ocean gear, ocean current. Sometimes that same plastic ends up in China.
You see?
Yeah. Yes. And it as it flows and it exposes to different, weathering condition, whether temperature, sunlight, bioorganisms, they degrade that. But by the time it reaches China, you still have the tip of the plastic bottle still there. Yeah. All right? So it trickles down the line.
It really does. And what people don't understand is that the smaller it gets, the more dangerous it is to your health.
Yeah, imagine it's the size of your blood cell. And you're eating this nice, juicy pangamiri or tilapia, and then,
And people are more health conscious, so they want to eat a lot of fish, omega-3s. True. And omega-3s on a side of plastic. And who is to blame for that? But us and we want to say, irresponsible solid waste management. Correct. Right? And throughout all of this, can you, in your opinion, What is the message you want to get out? Important message to get people to take action. And so, as we say for our day's team, invest in our planet. There's one planet we have. We know the issues of pollution. We know the issues of climate change. We know the global warming issues. What would you say to persons as a marine biologist, as a conservationist, an activist? What would you say to persons, especially Guyanese, as you're going to reach the Guyanese audience? So, invest in our planet in such a way that we protect marine life.
I think as individual us, whether big, small, old, whatever, we need to be mindful of what we do out there. We need to take caution on how we utilize our things. We spoke a lot about plastics, yes. Imagine you going to the supermarket, you buy 10 things, it's 10 plastic bags there. How can we use an alternative? This is where you start thinking, what is it I can do? If I'm going to the market to buy vegetables, for example, the cost is already expensive, but I have a backyard. I can plant my stuff. I can reduce the use of spending money as well as utilizing plastic and burning fuel to go to that place. That's very simple things. You're living in a neighborhood and 4 of the kids are going to school. Same school. All of them got vehicles. The parents are probably going to work or whatever it is. But let's just say all the kids can go with one vehicle and come back. Maybe a community bus service or something of sort like that can work to at least reduce the use of plastic. I was actually reading the other day, and it comes back to the same thing about fuel. We have a lot of vehicles in Guyana, which is good.
And we're developing.
We're developing. No doubt. I mean, I don't want to walk in the sun, right?
The sun is not, it's not the same.
But what if public servants, I'm just taking for example, public servants. You and I both work in a capacity where we are public servants.
Yeah.
So we're living in Kitty. What if we had this bus service that say, okay, Kitty, a bus service for specific public servants. Every day it picks you up at 8 o'clock, drops you back at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You swipe your card and that's it. You save your fuel. Yeah. And that bus takes you there. Let's say it's a 50-seater or whatever. It works. Yeah. The next one too, like I mentioned, you don't want to walk or ride a bicycle anymore. Why? Because the city is so hot. We don't have trees. Yeah. I am seeing along the seawall, I mean, this is great, no doubt. But they're paving that part in the middle of the road there. I believe, as a conservationist, that they shouldn't have paved it. I think they should have planted more trees, more flowers to make the environment cooler, sorry. Because when trees are there, you can afford to walk. It feels comfortable. Look at it, for example, you're in a national park. The one close to Carifesta Avenue, it's hot, but the other one close by to Thomas Land, it's cool. You prefer to walk in there. So you can literally see the difference, see and feel a difference. So I think we need to plant more trees is also being a part of this green initiative too. That's just a few of it, but there's multiple out there.
So they're on earthday.org. There are many ways to invest in your planet. You can check that up. And to add to what you're saying, I remember in 2018, right before the pandemic, I did the GT&T's breast cancer walk. And the moment I entered the shade of the trees, the relief I felt. And we say this all the time. Everything has a instrumental value or economic value. You have to decide which one you want to really capitalize on.
Correct.
And with trees, keep them. You will need them.
Definitely.
So go ahead.
Yeah. And that's where sustainable practice come into place. I mean, we're not saying that you end everything that you do. You shouldn't do it. We still need to live. We still need to be at our comfort, but do it in a sustainable manner. A sustainable way is most important.
Yes. So as you heard it today, sustainable development is the way. So as I bring this interview to a close, I'd like to thank you for being my very first interviewee on Ecospacegy Talk Show. Remember that there are many career paths you can take. We have a wonderful marine biologist here in Guyana right now, and she did a wonderful video on sargassums. Please check it out. It's on her...
It's marinelife.gy. You could follow me, Maria Fraser, as well. Yes. And you'll find it there. I think it's on TikTok.
I saw it on TikTok. So be sure to check it out. Remember to invest in your planet. Many were listed today, and see you soon.